We knew Minnie, and we loved her. There's several things went through my mind as you were doing that. I guess the first thing was, are you going to pass this gift along to somebody else?
Well, you know, I'll tell you something. Last year, a little girl, my neighbor, she's 9 years old, and she had to pick a country character or a Tennessee character, and she came over to my house and interviewed me. And so I made her a little hat and everything, and it went on stage at her school, and of course her friends were looking at her like, what is that? But the kids love it, and I want to do that. And I also do a thing. Last year we had a 100 Minnie March, and I had about, 40 girls in the Christmas parade at Donaldson, and we were all dressed as Minnie Pearl, and we won the Best Element Award, too. But I just want people to really remember her, and I know all of y'all knew her and how wonderful she was, because if you think about it, you know, not many people take people under their wings nowadays. You know, they're all out there, and of course, we all have to make a living. But as a youngster, I just always remember looking at her thinking, oh my goodness, why are you picking me? But a lot of people don't know this, if you go to the Country Music Hall of Fame, all the plaques in the Hall of Fame have a date of birth and a date of death. But Minnie Pearl's plaque only has a date of birth. There's no date of death, because she never wanted the character to ever die.
Well, as long as you're carrying it on.
Don't make me cry. Don't you make me cry. I'll tell you what, she was so wonderful. And I remember I was telling T over here, he was telling me some stories about her backstage, and I said, well, have you ever been into her house where she held court? And he's like, what? If you ever got in trouble, he knows.
I know.
If you ever got in trouble by Miss Minnie, she would take you into her kitchen, and you would sit there and sit across from her, and she'd hold court.
She held court on me one time at the Opry backstage.
Oh, goodness gravy. Well, it's scary.
She said, when they were applauding, and I immediately started talking, and people quieted down, So when I got off stage, she called me over there, and she said, now look, son, don't ever talk over your applause. It's too hard to get. And I said, yes, ma'am.
That's right. That's right.
She did the same thing with little Jimmy Dickens, and he talks about it all the time. He said that he was talking over the punchlines and things, and Minnie took him aside. And I think everybody in here will probably agree, the greatest timing of any people in our business, the two greatest were Minnie Pearl and Jimmy Dickens, because they can tell the same stories forever, ever, but that timing. And I can tell you've got that sense of timing, so you learned it well.
Well, one reason I wrote the rap is because I did want to get in with the younger crowd. So once we do that, they, come on into my world, and we just have a great time.
Oh, I think Minnie's up there smiling. I think she would love the rap.
Yeah. Well, you know what? She actually heard it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, because there's more to it than just what I did. And she said, well, I don't understand it. But as long as it gets a good laugh and you keep it clean, then that's good. But I have always been so appreciative to Celie over here, because when I worked with her in the breakfast shows, my goal every morning at 7 a.m. was to make her laugh.
And she did.
And not just doing Minnie, but just as Cindy, because Minnie always said to me, she said, you're not going to be exactly her, because I'm not her. She said, put a little bit of yourself into it, because I'm real good at off the cuff. I'll make fun of you in front of your face and behind you, whatever. She said, put a little bit of yourself into the character, and you will just really bring them into your fold. And I hope I do that. But with Celie, though, I like to change the words up on her and mess her up real good.
Minnie had one of the greatest philosophies about an audience, and we've all heard her say it. She said, you love them and they'll love you back. And they loved her back.
And you know what? From Cindy Moore's perspective, I love all of y'all, and I can feel that you love me back.
Thank you for
and
keeping
thank you
that
alive. Thank you, Bill.
Cindy Moore, she's wonderful.
Bill, I don't know if you noticed my lapel pin or not. It's a Minnie Pearl hat. And this year, 2012, it will be the 100th birthday of Minnie Pearl. And the American Cancer Society has been celebrating all year long. And, of course, that was a cause that was near and dear to Minnie's heart. And I proudly wear that lapel pin in honor of
Well, we have
Minnie.
the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center here
Absolutely.
in Nashville, named after her. And even though Sarah Cannon has passed away, Minnie Pearl will live forever.
And you know what's so neat about that? Minnie gave her name, Sarah Cannon, to the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, and then the character's name, Minnie Pearl, to the Minnie Pearl Cancer Foundation, all on a handshake and agreement. There was no contract at all. And I just think that says so much for her. And she, like I said, she did so much for Nashville. And now the Minnie Pearl, Sarah Cannon Cancer Center is the #1 cancer center in the country.
Amen.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Ray.
I can tell you so many things about Minnie and Henry and my wife Barbara and myself that would cap it off. I was in Las Vegas, and my manager came to me and said, how would you like to have Minnie Pearl to be on the show with you, to open up the show? And I said, any excuse to be close to her would be enough. But as the time came, I got to thinking, now what if she goes out here on the stage, somebody who has had too much to drink, and start heckling her and giving her a bad time? I said, I don't know, but they'd have to come over me to get to it. I mean, I wouldn't stand for it. And then the night came to opening act, I'm back in the wings looking, and they're rolling in the aisles. And I'm thinking to myself, worry about yourself, Clark. She's done all the stories that we all know, she was telling to this so-called sophisticated audience. And she was Minnie Pearl. She was not adapting to anything else.
Love it.
That's great. One other real quick thing, when Cindy was talking about the little girl dressing up in the character, my neighbor, when she was 7, was going to do the same type thing for school. And so her mama made her the whole outfit and all, and pretty soon she looked so cute. And Maria called me and said, can you think of a Minnie Pearl joke that would be appropriate for 7-year-old Allison to tell? And we always thought about her as family humor, you know, but we got to thinking, well, so many of her stories were about Uncle Nabob drunk. Well, 7-year-old girl can't tell that at school, or about checking the fellas up out and I'm feeling her up one side and I'll do that again, I'll write you a check. Well, I couldn't think of one. I finally called, that's when Debbie Logue was at the Opry, and I called Debbie and I said, we have a problem here. Debbie said, let me give that some thought. About an hour and a half later, she called back and somebody finally thought of a joke for her to tell. And she told the one about the teacher sending brother home from school because he had the pox. Mama sent him back, said, he ain't got no pox. We just been learning him to eat with the folk. That got her a good mark at school.
Well, you know, so much of the foundation of the Opry was built on comedy. There was, I mean, going back, you know, generations, have been so many come through there. Aside from Mike Snyder, the humor from the Riders in the Sky and people, there's not a lot of comedy at the Opry like there used to be. You think, are we taking it too serious these days? Do we need somebody to come in and lighten it up?
No.
Yeah.
Well, you need to wear a big hat, I think.
Yeah.
And chaps.
A big hat and chaps definitely help. We did a show with Minnie, a TV show, and we were sitting in the makeup room. I was in one chair and she was in the next chair, and I had a dream about her several weeks earlier that was really an R-rated dream, if you can imagine, which I still can't imagine why I had this dream. But I sat next to her in the chair and she's getting all done. I said, you know, Minnie, I had a dream about you, and I blushed, you know, and she looked at me over, you know, twinkling, and she said, if I was 30 years younger, we'd make that dream come true. I was like, whoa, the goddess is flirting with me. It's like, oh my Lord.
Boy, that's Minnie.
Yeah.
You worked with her all those years on Hee Haw.
Oh, yes. And when we weren't on Hee Haw, we worked together. Minnie and I had an affair. We really did. We were that close that we went through the brother and sister phase, and we became very close. You know, I had to change that a little bit. That we, she loved everyone, and when she would meet you, hadn't seen you for a while, she'd walk up and hug you and stuff. I got offended when she hugged anybody else. She was my personal property. That's where I got to that point.
What did Henry think about that?
Oh, he was part of it. That's what made it safe.
Yeah.
But the first, we worked in Texas, the first time we met close together. And I was laughing so hard that she turned around and dedicated about 5 minutes to the guy down there that's getting all of my jokes. And the one that stuck out was she said, I wouldn't go swimming with the girls because I had a hole in the elbow of my swimsuit. And I thought that's the funniest thing I ever heard.
That's funny.